Well, good afternoon, good evening, whatever part of the world you're in. You're back here again with Keith Hooper and John Solider. Good afternoon or good evening, John.
Keith, it's almost evening. How do you like that? And it's just December. Wow, it's getting a little chilly here in Texas.
There you go. Well, moving up 2020, I'm still telling you it should be 20.20, which is for perfect vision because boy, oh boy, everything in this book. And by the way, folks, if you haven't got the book, get over to Amazon. Just put in John's name under books, John Soleder, Solleder. Get this book coming to you. And we're going to go through this book chapter by chapter. So, John, as we come here on, wow, can you believe we're into December already? But this chapter is interesting. It's about the money, honey, and so we're gonna touch on this part of this chapter for the folks this week, John.
Well, Keith, when we wrote this, okay, way back in 2019, which seems like 100 years ago, um, money was important then. Money's still important now. Money's probably become that much more important because of what's going on economically. Wherever you're watching this, every economy in the world has been, hurt the last couple of years. And when's it going to turn around? I don't know. Will it turn around? I don't know. Are we permanently going to be paying $4 for gas? I don't know. In the United States, that is, in Texas and California, I know you'd like to pay $4 for gas. And in Canada, the $4 for gas is about what it's always been, and that's just gas. So, that's kind of what's happening. But as I reflect on this chapter, money matters. There's a few points I want to make, Keith. Number one, even in the first page, I talked about what do you do with money? And I was quoted in the magazine way back saying that the purpose of money is to love people and to use money, not to use people. And when I think about the great philanthropists that have existed in the world, that's exactly what they did. We hear right now, Jeff Bezos is worth, I don't know, $150 billion or some ridiculous amount. And in the balance of his life, he's going to give away his money. Maybe not all of it. I'm sure he's going to leave some for his children. But at the end of the day, you don't need to leave your kids $150 billion, right? Well, that's a guy who, we should all have Jeff Bezos' problems when it comes to that. But what do you do with your money? What do you do with the overage of your money? Do you help your church? Do you help your little league? Do you help your local church? Do you help your local EMS organization if it's a volunteer group? There's so many worthy things. And even at Immunotech, we've got the Immunotech the Immunikids Foundation set up, for example. And for that matter, we still have a thing, I believe, at McGill that we started way back a number of years ago in Dr. Bunos's name for research, and on and on and on. I know I lost my mom to Alzheimer's here a couple of years ago, coming up on 3 years shortly. My dear friend Luke Okanakis just lost his mom, and my buddy Jeff Weisberg is struggling with both his parents having it out in California right now. And it seems like no week goes by we don't hear about Alzheimer's. Well, once again, worthy place to give money to when you have an overage. But you only get an overage if you perform well and you take care of your money. So I want to point that out, but I also want to point out, to me, the most important thing in this chapter, which I'll hold up, and you're not going to be able to see it, folks, but I'll tell you what it is. And this is interesting. This is actually called the penny principle. And I don't know if you remember when you were in school way back, but the teacher probably said, if I give you 1 cent today and I double it every single day, how many of you would take that offer? And a number of kids would raise their hand. The smart kids would raise their hands. And the stupid kids would not raise their hand. And then the teacher said, I'll give you $100 right now. Well, when I was in school, $100 was a lot of money. There were a lot of my friends raised their hand. I'll take the $100. Well, I understood 1 cent today, 2 cents tomorrow, 4 cents the next day, not a lot of money. But money accelerates volumetrically, okay, when you invest it properly. And a guy by the name of Albert Einstein, you all may have heard of him, but Albert Einstein said that his most important revelation in all the things that he discovered and worked with in his great career, as one of, if not the greatest thinker, certainly of the last century, that the principle of interest on money was the most important thing that he found, even more important than the theory of relativity. So this is in here too, and it kind of explains it really, really well. What are we in when it comes to our business? We're in the business of taking a penny, making it 2, making it 4, making it 8, making it 16, etc., by bringing people to your Immunotech business, right? And when you bring them, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16. Before you know it, you've got a thriving organization. If you do it right and you apply some of the things that are in Moving Up 2020, Leaving Nothing to Chance, some of the other things that you're being taught by Upline, some of the other things perhaps you're reading that are outside authors from Immunotech like Keith and I. But at the end of the day, that's what you want your business to look like. You want it to duplicate, replicate, and really get you in a position where you build a financial fortress around yourself and your family. Because, folks, we don't need to tell you what the economy looks like. And once again, I got no answers on that. I got my theories like everybody else does. But at the end of the day, here's what I do know. Good economy or bad economy, if you have the good economy, that's the macro, right? That's where everything's going good. Gas prices are good, food prices are good, etc. But if you're not making any money, it doesn't really matter if you can't afford to participate in the economy. But when the economy gets like it is now, tight, this is where you really need to understand money and what you spend, what you put away, and how you balance your money so that you make sure that you get through this period of time, however long it ends up being. Thoughts, Keith?
Well, John, as we're looking at this, I encourage everybody, look, get the book. I don't know what is it, John? $20 on Amazon?
Oh, I think it's 14, and they can do the download for like 10 or something. I don't even remember what it is. We make no money. You can tell Keith and I, we didn't figure this out real good because we have no idea how do we even make money from this book. Matter of fact, the lady who actually
now wait a minute.
Pay us.
Nobody's gonna. No, there's no violin in the background. There's no complaining, but there's facts here. Okay. And it's important as you're building your business that you know why you're doing it. First, you better love what you're doing. Okay. Then you better make sure that what you love that you're doing is a money-making enterprise. Okay. You can be really, really good at knitting. Okay. But it's going to be really hard to make a living at it. Now, you can buy the looms and you can do the other stuff and get knitting machines and do all this other stuff, and there's money to be made. But why is it important to make money? To make a difference. So make sure what you're doing you love and understand what you need to do to capitalize on it economically. What do you need to do to increase your income? That's where the penny, this penny, doubling of the penny. You sponsor somebody in the business today. Tomorrow you help that person sponsor somebody and you sponsor one. The following day, what do you do? Same thing. Now, in the beginning, you can do this. After you've been here for, like John and I, for all these years, we did that in the past. And today, our businesses represent that. But the idea is, why are you doing it? And the things are there. And what I love to think about with money, and I challenge you, okay? Because people say, well, money's not important. Did you walk past the Salvation bell ringer and not give them any money? Did you walk past? Did you put a couple of dollars in or $5 in or $20 in? I can tell you why you didn't. And so do you. I don't have to say the words. You know why you didn't. How about the kids selling the candy bars? This is the one that I love the most, John. You got these kids. They're out there trying to raise money for a camp or whatever they're doing, and they're doing it right now. And you got the small kid there. Here's the point if you're making some money. I love to do this. The little kids are there. They've got their candy bars. They're $1 a piece or whatever they are. I don't want one of the candy bars. But I come up to them and say, look, what are you doing this for? What are you going to do with the money? How are you using it? I make them give me a sales pitch, John. I'm teaching them to give the sales pitch. Then at the end, I'll buy, 5 candy bars. And then I turn around and say, okay, now you can sell them again. You don't get to keep them and you don't get to eat them. You got to sell them again. I don't ever take the candy bars. Okay. But I make them go through the whole process, John, of selling it to me. Guys and gals, if you don't enjoy that, do it once and just see how it will touch you. It'll touch you how you feel. And if the parents are setting off at a distance and the smile that comes upon their face, John, is immeasurable. But you can only do that if you've got some extra quote unquote money. Okay. You don't have to have a lot of extra money, but a few dollars. Once again, look at building your business here. John, and you and I were talking earlier. What are we talking about when you're building your network marketing business? If you're starting and you're listening here in the beginning, you want to go pick up the book, Moving Up 2020. Okay, John Soliver, get it off Amazon, because you want to look at some principles that you can do to build a business. This is a 2 to 5 year process. You made reference to Jeff Bezos. Okay, the first 10 years, Amazon made no money. Amazon lost money month after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, as they were building the foundation to flourish. Okay, they were building that foundation, and that's what you have to look at with this. If you're looking at, work today, get paid today, a day. If you're looking as a day laborer, okay, you're going to go back to the penny, a penny today and double it tomorrow and whatever. If you're looking for, work today, get paid today, you're not a big thinker. Okay, you're not somebody that's an entrepreneur. You're not somebody that understands money or business yet. The key word yet. Nothing wrong with where you're at. Okay, John and I, all the beard envy that I'm getting, John, as we head into Christmas. Okay, because as I get my Santa Claus beard here, but the point is, if you're not making enough money to give away a little, okay, it's not because the world has treated you bad. It's because you haven't learned how to treat the world, John, and how to treat money.
And Keith, there's a lot of points about what you just said there, and there's a lot of points about this book. But let me give 3 reference points directly about Immunotech. Number 1, know your numbers. Okay, if you're a gold, and there's a lot of golds that are going to hear this, and you're close to gold here in December or January or February or next April, whenever it is, and you're at 26,000 points going into the last 3 days of the month. Don't get yourself in the habit of saying, well, let's say my check, because my organization's not real deep, I'm not going to worry about qualifying as a gold. I'm going to let it pass. Doesn't matter, because my checks can be about the same. Well, what happens is you develop a mental habit then of losing. Try to keep that rank advanced, whether it's gold, whether you're silver, whether you're diamond, whatever rank you are, a little harder as you get up to ED and platinum, okay? But try to keep your rank. That's part of knowing your numbers in your business. When I watch Shark Tank, and I'm a big fan of that show, I have been since it came out, and one of these days I'll tell everybody the Mark Cuban story, when Mark Cuban dabbled in network marketing, by the way, before he was super successful in a company I was vice president of. But anyway, I'll tell that story another day. And he's not the only one, by the way. I just found out that Tillman Fertitta, okay, who owns all of the, all sorts of restaurants down here in Houston and Dallas and a bunch of casinos. But anyway, he started his career in Shackley, it turns out. But anyway, a lot of very successful entrepreneurs, this was their first industry. They got in network marketing and they kind of said, hey, okay, great. They took some of the skills elsewhere and obviously became very successful. But anyway, I'm deviating for a second. But my point is, whether it's Mark Cuban, whether it's Tillman Fertitta, whether it's whomever, Jeff Bezos, any of those people would advise you, know your numbers, okay? You have to know your numbers in the business. We can all complain about the general economy. But at the end of the day, are you taking care of the micro part of your business, right? The macro being the economy at large, Immunotech at large, but are you taking care of your backyard? Are you making sure that you do everything you can to keep that check as high as it possibly can be based on the organization that you built to date? That's one thing. Second thing about money, okay? Keith makes a great point about the candy bars. Jim Rohn used to tell children, he used to counsel children, and I sat through a lot of Jim sessions. I knew Jim not well. I did have a lunch with him here in Dallas one time. That was amazing to spend time with him, just, as 4 guys or 2 other guys there, and Jim and myself. But, Jim used to tell children, get 2 bikes, one to ride and the other to rent. Why? Because you got in the process of, okay, I understand. I have an asset. I put that asset to work. Okay. Well, that works well for children. How's it working for you? Are you taking some of your money if you're successful, and are you putting it into tax advantage type of investments? Be that real estate, be that your SEP retirement account here in the United States, be it your equivalent in Canada. I forget what they call it up there. Okay. But at the end of the day, are you doing that? Are you taking care of your financial future from your business? I learned in the insurance business that I was in for a couple of short years way, way back that you have to invest every single year in your personal retirement account. Are you doing that? Here we are. You're going to hear this at the end of the year. Okay. Are you doing that in December? And if you don't do it in December, most of the time you have in the US and Canada anyway, you have until you pay your income taxes to take care of the prior year, right? And once again, I'm not an accountant. You handle that with your accountant or your investment professional, but do it. Third thing, because we are in December, Keith, maximize your deductions this month. What do you mean, John? You know, on New Year's Eve, I have too many cars. Okay. And I'm not proud of that, but a lot of them belong to my son, by the way. But anyway, do you know on New Year's Eve, one of the things that I do every year is I take every car and fill it up with gasoline. So I get that last tax deduction for the year. Now, why do I do that? I was raised by Depression era parents. I was raised by people who lived through the Depression. And I understand that every year is not the same because of that. Keith was raised by Depression era parents as well. Okay. We understand we're older. Keith and I are older. If you're 25 years old listening to this, you may not know what the Depression even was, but I suggest you find out about it. But that said, every tax deduction, you need to buy a piece of business equipment for your Immunotech business. You buy it in December. Okay. You buy it before the end of the year. Why? Because you don't know what's going to happen next year. Maybe, hopefully, your income is going to grow, but there's no guarantees of that. So at the end of the day, maximize your tax deductions here in 2022 before the end of the year. Now, some of you are going to see this after January. Okay, hey, comes January 1st, it's a new year. It is what it is. But if you hear this in December, take my advice. Go spend whatever that extra money is that you have to spend anyway. That's deductible or a portion of it's deductible because you're self-employed. Make sure that you take full advantage of the IRS code here in the United States and the Rev Canada code in Canada, that you maximize those deductions. Thoughts, Keith?
Well, John, as always, we've given people here in this few minutes enough information, I believe, to reaffirm when they're reading the chapter. Okay, as you read these chapters, you can pay attention to what we've got, we really want you to do that. We're gonna be going into the next chapter here shortly, which is about how to make money in the direct sales and network marketing. But I want you to think about what we're talking about here. When we talk about money, who do we know that needs money? Seniors, women, men, kids, grandkids. Who do you know that needs money? Well, the best thing you can do is to teach them about money, that money is in motion. Okay. And you need to learn that motion is going to continue. Okay. It's not about you. It's about the reality of the world we live in. And you need to invest in yourself and teach your family first, and then the other people around you secondly, that they need to understand these principles of money, because money makes the world go round easier. It's like a lubricant. Okay. If you have more money, you're not better. Okay. But it makes things easier. Okay, why not make it easier by learning some information that you can leverage into a lot of other areas? I love what Robert Kiyosaki said. There's one good reason to get into network marketing. It's the skills that you're going to learn. The skills that you're going to learn because you can transfer them to any of your other businesses, and we can talk about that going forward. But the next chapter is about, direct selling can be a way to wealth. We invite you to join us at that time. Closing thoughts, John?
Hey, just once again, take advantage of the information that you learned here today. Take advantage of those tax deductions here in 2022. Take advantage of putting some money away for your retirement. Folks, I started at 25 to put money away every single year and never thought I would be the ripe old age now of almost 62. And here I am now at the end of my, end of the road here. Okay. Well, however long, the good Lord gives me. Okay. Hopefully a long time, and taking my Immunical every day, hopefully a long time, but there's no guarantees. Okay. But let's say he does. Let's say like some of the people in my life, my mother lived to age 92. What if that's me? I got a long way to go. So I'm really glad I started early. But if you didn't, if you're sitting there kicking your own butt and saying, wow, I'm 65 and I haven't put any money away yet, it's never too late to start. But start. Get that discipline of learning how to pay yourself first. Got to pay all the other things. Got to pay the taxes. Got to pay the overhead. Got to pay the rent. Got to do all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, learn how to pay yourself first. And that principle made a huge difference for me when I've looked at where my family is at. I had my kids late, for example. Okay, my one son's in college now. My daughter will be starting next next fall. And because I started late, I had to play catch up, not on the retirement money, but on other money that I'm using for their education, for example. Okay. So there's always going to be a need for money. I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos. He probably has a need for money. Okay. Maybe he doesn't, but the rest of us do. I don't think Jeff's watching this. But that point is well taken. So, once again, learn how to take care of paying yourself first, put that money away for retirement, whatever it is, even if it's $100 to start. Get that discipline and get in that habit. And it's not a hard habit. And by the way, the money I put into those accounts, I never missed, because I never counted it as today's money. It was just money I put away. It was like, I don't have that money today. Okay. So never too late to start taking care of yourself economically. So what I got, Keith.
Join us next week. The Perfect Business. If you're 25, it's the perfect business. If you're 65, it's even better. It's even better. We're going to cover that next week. Thank you for listening.